back, everybody. So if you watch my oil change video on the old Dodge here, you'll notice that I was having a coolant leak, and I got an update for you on that. All right, so you already can see I have things sort of apart, but this weld right here along the entire top of the radiator was going bad, so I'm replacing my radiator today. All right, so the first thing you're gonna do is you wanna drain out all your old coolant. So what I did to do that is at the bottom here, you can see right where I'm pointing is where the lower radiator hose comes in. There's also over here, there is a drain plug, but that was actually all frozen shut. So what I just did is I tried to, as carefully as possible, remove this lower radiator hose, and all the coolant came spilling out. I capped most of it, but I did have a little bit of spillage, which is bad. Try not to do that, but it's kind of difficult, especially when you're doing it with the hose. And then your fan shroud here is just attached with 4 screws right here, and then on the other side as well. This cover here is just held in with these little plastic dealy bobs here. So I just remove those, and I'm not gonna remove the whole thing, but as you can see, it comes back, and there it is, all exposed. Okay, so here's your coolant reservoir. That has a hose that's attached to the top of the radiator here. Usually this hose is covered by this flap, if you will. And the radiator itself is just held on by 4 bolts. So another thing I did is I disconnected the battery just so in case, you know, we don't want any kind of shorting out or anything like that. We are dealing with coolant and what have you. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove the radiator now. It's been open for a while and it's not dripping anymore. So to this side. Okay, here it goes. Oh, nasty. So here is the original radiator and here is the replacement. This is a Duralast from AutoZone, and you know, one thing's for sure is I think this one is built to last a little bit longer than that one. I mean, this one's from 1987, and I think that I don't think that this one's gonna last quite as long. I mean, it is a lot of plastic on there, and I mean, everything lines up, which is good. So I think it's going to work, but I just don't, I think probably in about 10 years, I'll be putting another radiator in. All right, so I decided to go ahead and take off the lower radiator hose. I have one actually on order. It just hasn't shown up yet. It's supposed to come today. So I'm going to go ahead and do that because it's kind of interesting, actually. I didn't notice this before, but, this is news to me, but if you look inside here, there's the camera, there it is. If you look inside there, there's like some wire, and it kind of, to make sure, I assume that it doesn't get pinched or what have you. And if you look in there, it is kind of gross, dude. So what I'm gonna do first is just install the new radiator, hook up everything else, and then just wait for the mail to come, and then I'll put in the lower radiator hose, and then I will fill this sucker with coolant. So let's put the radiator in. Okay. New radiator coming on in. It's hilarious how much lighter it is. Much easier than the last one. You just hold it with one hand and thread in one of the top bolts here. It's gonna make the truck faster because it's so much lighter, right? Is that how it works? I think that's how it works, I'm pretty sure. So what I went ahead and did, if you can see here, is I kind of drilled these out just a tiny bit. You can see it on this side. I just made the hole a little bit bigger because this is not a perfect fit as the stock one is. So I'm lining up those 2 bottom bolts first, and sliding those on. Like so, perfect. And man, it's okay, yeah, it's gonna be good enough. It still doesn't wanna perfectly fit. Okay, so all 4 bolts are loosely in. It was this one right here. This one right here that was just not perfectly lined up along with the rest of them. But I drilled the hole out a little bit, and now all 4 are loosely in. So I just need to tighten these up. I think around 10 foot-pounds. So just, you know, essentially snug, and then with like a little quarter turn after. So definitely don't need to reef on these because that would be bad. Okay, so as you can see, we're pretty much all back together now. Our overflow hose is hooked up here. I'll explain this in a minute. And this just arrived in the mail, which is fantastic. It doesn't have the that wire in the center anymore, but you know, I don't think I'm not too worried about that. And this, again, this is actually recommended by ChrisFix, but this is kind of a spill-proof funnel system. And what you do is essentially you fill the radiator up, and then you have it kind of go up to about here. And then as you run the engine, air will come out, and it kind of essentially bleeds the whole system out of air for you. So it's pretty awesome. So let's put this new hose on, and then we're ready to fill it with coolant. Okay, my friends. There's the new hose. Here's the old one, which I will discard. And we have now attached our top hose and snugged everything up. So that is essentially it. Usually doing this, you'd want to replace the radiator cap, but I just bought a new one for the old one because I didn't know my radiator was bad. So yeah, that's it. I'm gonna finish this up. So what you're gonna wanna do, of course, is just walk around, check all your connections for leaks. I got no leaks. The system is still bubbling up a little bit. Once it stops bubbling, all you have to do is use this cork, stick it down there, and then you know, put the extra coolant back in a container of some sort. And that is it, guys. I mean, changing a radiator is honestly a lot easier than I thought it was gonna be. I'm very glad I did not go out and pay someone else to do this, because now I know how to do it, and I probably saved myself about $300. So thanks for watching Jason Explains Things, everybody. Do it yourself. Do it yourself.